In the play The Universal Language by David Ives, a character speaks in Unamunda, a made-up language. Miraculously, as the play progresses, the audience gradually becomes proficient in this invented language. A miracle? Perhaps not. I've never heard anyone speaking Unamunda outside of the theater, but the dream has always been there. Can we create a universal language? Otto Neurath thought we could, but Neurath wasn't looking for a spoken language. He had a different idea. As the director of the Social and Economic Museum in Vienna, Neurath wondered how he could teach people complicated ideas about sociology and economics without, boring them to death. Neurath wanted to democratize access to information, a noble goal and a logical one for a museum director. He could share the sociological and economic data at his museum, but let's be real. If you're at a museum, are you going to spend an hour poring over statistical tables at the data exhibit to find out how many more cars were produced from one decade to the next, or the link between unemployment and infant mortality? Neurath had museum tickets to sell. He knew better. He needed a better way to share the stories behind the boring statistical data, and to do that, he looked for inspiration from an existing universal language: pictures. What if, Neurath wondered, he could find a way to use pictures to share complicated ideas? Heck, people already had some mastery of simple pictures, or pictographs. They rely on pictographs constantly, he realized. A bathroom sign, a stop sign, street crossing signs. We move through the world by reading pictures. This concept predates Neurath, of course. Even our ancestral cave dwellers had simple pictographs to represent larger ideas. But Neurath wanted more from his pictographs. He wanted the pictures to be the data, not just decorate the data. Working with Marie Reidemeister and the artist Gerd, the team translated raw data and abstract ideas into simple and clear visual forms. The team's simple innovation was the realization not to make a symbol bigger or smaller to show the number it represents, but instead to repeat identical symbols. For example, if you want to show people that 10 times more cars were sold in one decade from the next, rather than making a giant car next to a small car, they would simply repeat the small car 10 times. The meaning of the information was immediately clear to the viewer. And rather than looking at endless tables of numbers, the viewer could look at pictures of cars. He called his system the Vienna Method of Pictorial Statistics, admittedly not that catchy, but later, in the spirit of simplicity, renamed it Isotype. Today, people use a variety of terms, perhaps most commonly infographics. The resulting book, published in 1930, was Gesellschaft und Wirtschaft, or in English, Society and Economy. Here, Neurath's team created 100 plates presenting data on wildly different subjects, including world religion, infant mortality, unemployment, gender and employment, migration, the rise of New York, urbanization, and yes, the growing popularity of the automobile. While the book is written in German, amazingly, many of these graphics require no knowledge of German. A miracle? Perhaps, but it's one we take for granted today in our daily lives as we see the modern versions of Neurath's Vienna system in our newspapers, magazines, and of course, museums. So while we still don't have a universal spoken language, Neurath's team found another way. They made information visual. Neurath himself summed up his project beautifully when he said, "Words divide, pictures unite."